All right. Let's kick this thing off. Well, turning on the camera would help. Jeez. There we go. Well, good afternoon. We'll see how good it gets. The Buffalo Public Schools have released their findings from their internal investigation regarding my allegations about misconduct. And I've been getting a lot of texts from people saying, hey, can you believe it? This is what they found. This is what they're saying their conclusion is. And I haven't had time to look it over yet. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to look it over with everybody in real time. It's like 100 pages. Hold your breath. Don't worry. We're going to skim through to some of the important things. There is an index. Bump. Let's see. Huh, why is it not showing up on where I want it to show up? Let's pull it up. Yes, JD, we may be I can't say we're gonna be rioting. I don't want to incite a riot, but I will be honest with you. Let's see, where is it? Boom, file share. Here it is. Okay. Let's see if we can. Let's split the screen. Let's look it over. Boom. This would be better if I put this way. Let's see. Beep, boop, beep. Let's check this out. Let's get this thing to fit. All right. How do I... And there we go. All right. Did I spell release wrong? I don't care. I'm over it. There's other things. All right, let's start reading this thing out. Introduction. We've got obstruction of justice, inference with investigations, failure to protect children, the podcast summary. So that's all on 1 or 2 pages. The limitations, the absence of subpoena power, witness participant limitations. Oh, okay. So these are limitations that the firm had. They don't have subpoena power. They can't make people participate. Witness participation. All right. Note to the community. Awesome. School safety, an overview of school safety, security team information, additional broad safety concerns. Interesting. The February 11th, 2025 incursion at Drew. I think that was the stabbing. So this is just, okay, Buffalo Museum of Science. I guess it looks like they focused on just a couple specific incidents. The emergency response to calls communications issued from the time of the intrusion. I don't know what that has to do with this. Probably the individuals that were assaulted. Recommendations for the changes. Allegation related to DA subpoena non-compliance. Well, I can tell you 100% that's true. There's a letter at the DA's office that says, "Hi, I'm the principal of this school. I'm not going to come in. I refuse." Self-subpoena, subpoenas of criminal matters. Involving Drew. Seems like they focused on just a couple. Jesse Community Charter School comparison. Interesting. 911 use. Okay, cool. Coding calls. Interesting. Federal desegregation ruling. I have no idea what segregation would have to do with this. Peter Hinson alleged child pornography case. Interesting. Alleged drug trafficking case. School board member conduct. Blank alleged student sexual abuse. I don't know why that's blacked out. Riverside stabbing. Okay. Alleged child danger. Oh, maybe the 2020 was the incident where the teacher refused to, or where the principal refused to answer a subpoena. Child endangerment case, edibles incident, school 69, and conclusion. Okay, so it looks like other incidents and concerns start at 94. And then go on to 106. That's only 12 pages. All right. Let's kick this thing off. Okay, on June 18th, the Board of Education retained this legal group. This is just saying the Board of Education realizes that they want accountability. We'll see. They wanted accountability. Maybe the head of the school board shouldn't have retired and stayed on to finish the job here, right? I mean, wouldn't that be accountable? That'd be accountability. Kind of be accountability to me. Maybe it'd be like not turning off their social media so then you can't respond to anything. You know? Strange that they can turn off all their comments and close their social media when they're a public organization and they have to answer to the public. Strange. Strange. That doesn't really seem like transparency, accountability to me. That's just me. You know? That's just me. See, podcast summary. Me. Detective I, along with others, allege a systemic pattern of misconduct and cover-ups by the BPD administration and legal representatives. The general key themes underlying the podcast include obstruction of interference in investigations. This includes personnel deliberately ignoring subpoenas, advising staff not to cooperate with police, and destroying or concealing evidence. Yes. Concealing evidence. 100%. 100%. See if the redactions are actually redactions or black highlighter. How do I fix that? How do I do it right now? Because I guarantee you that's something that could actually happen. Because that's so square, that looks like it's, whatchamacface it. That looks like it's added in digitally. Oh, somebody tell me how to do it. Somebody how to do it. Tell me how to do it. Tell me how to do it. Please. Please. I'm going to hold off on this. I want to see, because there is a way. I remember that's what happened with like some of the Epstein files. Control A and then post it into a Word document? You think so? Let's see, let's go to a Google Doc. Is it that easy? It can't be that easy. Put it in Microsoft Word, drag across to select the text, copy and paste into Editor or Paint. Convert it to a Word doc. All right, when you say convert it to a Word doc, you're talking to a beat cop, all right? Somebody's got to tell me to do the whole thing at once. Copy and paste into a blank Word document. All right. This looks like a PDF. Can I actually do this? I might have to download it. Let me see. Download. Save. I'm working with you right now. I'm working with you. Let's see if we can't get this unredacted. Could you imagine? For more justice! For more justice! Let's see. Beep, boop, beep, beep. I want to go to, where's my downloads? Oh, I know what it is. It's not letting me select Control All. It's not letting me do it. Look, copy text, paste to blank doc. How do I look? What the fuck is, what is look? It's not letting me copy and paste. Edit with Acrobat? Edit text and images? Nope, that's not buying this. You know what? Let me text it to my super crew. Trying to control it. What's this? Ed text. Draw. Highlight. It's not letting me do it. It's just saying it's a PDF. What would I do? Should I save it as something else? Should I make it like dot whatever it is? Files locked. Need to unlock the PDF first, then you can edit. Well, I mean, I don't think I could unlock it, right? All right, weirdos. I'm going to go through this. Here's the deal. I linked it on X. All right. So go to X, click on the link, do it yourself. And then if some of you says, hey, I found it and it's unredacted, get back in the chat. Chat, keep an eye on it for me because I'm going to be reading. And let me know. How about that? Telling people right now to unredact it. Can you go to my X account where I posted the Buffalo Public Schools investigation? Download the PDF file and see if you can unredact the redacted portions. Wouldn't it be fun? Yes, it does look like it's a printed and scanned version, so I think you're right. So close. So close to greatness. All right, let's see. Let's start. Let's dive in. We've already... All right, so the obstruction, we already talked about that. I said the concealing evidence, yep. Failure to protect children. Administrators and staff are accused of repeatedly failing to report abuse and other misconduct or underreporting. Correct. Misconduct involving or affecting minors. These are also the complaints that the BPS did not follow proper procedures related to 911 use. Okay. Manipulation of records. Claims that school personnel intentionally mislabeled incidents to hide their severity or to prevent full and timely investigations. Yes. Retaliation against whistleblowers. Yeah. Safety concerns, faced harassment, paid leave suspensions. Yes, 100% there was the one. Union delegate or representative for the schools that stood up and to the school board, and then he was suspended shortly thereafter along with his group of personnel that worked with him. All right, so this is the law firm saying they conducted this investigation with thoroughness, fairness, objectivity. Investigation team sought to not only understand the specific and censor for the public allegations, but also the broader systemic issues, policies, procedures. In case they contributed or prevented appropriate responses to student safety concerns, investigation process includes extensive document review, witness interviews, the analysis of policies, procedures, codes, reports, and other documents. Our team interviewed 66 people. Interesting. Well, I mean, if Nick and I are two of those 66 people, that means 64 other people. Then you've got the school board that they probably interviewed, and they all just said, I don't know. So maybe 60, maybe 50 people. They might have actually said something. Throughout the process, we remained mindful of our dual obligations to conduct a thorough investigation that would serve the district's needs for accurate information and accountable recommendations, or actionable recommendations, while also protecting the privacy and dignity of all individuals involved. What about the dignity of the... Never mind. What about the dignity of the victims? Just saying. Particularly students who may have been affected by the matters under investigation. All right. While the investigation was comprehensive in scope and thorough in execution, we need to identify certain limitations of the investigation and resulting report. All right, cool. So absence of subpoena power. They don't possess subpoena power or other legal authority to compel witness testimony or document production. Okay. Our investigation, therefore, largely relied upon voluntary cooperation from witnesses and districts, and the district's provision of documents within its control. Thanks, bud. I appreciate you. We attempt to use the Freedom of Information Law request to entities subject to its requirements to obtain documents. Okay. Witness participation. Most witnesses we contacted were forthcoming and appeared credible. Everyone seemed to understand the safety. Oh, there you go. Most of them? Sometimes eager to participate. Despite extensive outreach efforts, however, not all individuals identified as potentially having relevant information chose to participate in the investigation. That's unfortunate. With all the ability to compel testimony, some witnesses declined to be interviewed. I wonder who they were. Some did not respond to one or more contact attempts. Some were otherwise unavailable during the investigation period. While we were able to interview 66 individuals who provided information, the absence of certain witness perspectives may have limited our ability to fully explore some aspects. Temporal constraints. We had to do it in a timely manner. Specifically focused on the allegations that I raised on the April podcast with the boys. Oh, they can't see the doc? I mean, who can't see the doc? You can't see the screen? How can you not see the screen? Up. I've got it in window capture. How about now? Can you weirdos see the screen now? Oh, wait. Is that a difference? Oh, I'm looking at the PDF document. Gosh, I'm such a fucking moron. Sorry, guys. I was locked in. Doop. All right. So we got limitations, witness participation, scope, cost. How about now? Yes, everybody? Yes. Sorry. Gosh, dang it. I'm not a smart man. I told you. I'm in this. Like, I'm in this. This is a part of me. Yes, I am being a boomer, although I'm not a boomer. I'm just locked in. I'm sorry that I'm so locked in. I'm not a technical savvy man. I'm just a man. Confidentiality. Okay, yeah, confidentiality. You're not going to report the kids. Wait, what specifically confidentiality? Student privacy, maintain confidentiality regarding sensitive matters. Necessarily limited to the level of detail that could include a certain portions of this report. Where these limitations exist, we have endeavored to provide sufficient information to convey our findings and support our recommendations while respecting these important privacy interests. This report is protected by the attorney-client privilege. Although we are aware of the Board of Education's desire to share as much information as possible following its review of the report, it is within the BOE's power to waive this privilege. Some matters may be ongoing. pending litigations or others. Obviously, they can't talk about that. A note to the community. We recognize the report addresses matters of significant public concern, and its contents may generate strong reactions within our community. They're focused on the well-being of children. Okay. They're telling us how to read this. Do so. Read this report with an open mind and a commitment to constructive dialogue. I'll try. Focus on forward-looking recommendations rather than seek to assign blame. I don't know. Assigning blame is pretty important, like fire the people or hold them accountable. Respect the privacy and dignity of all individuals mentioned or involved in this investigation. Okay. To channel concerns or disagreements through appropriate, lawful, and respectful means. Okay. To respect the shared goal is the safety and well-being of the students and personnel working with students. We'll see. Is that the shared goal? Is that the shared goal of the Buffalo school system? We'll see. Overview and BPS general system. We'll ignore that. Security team information. Security team is responsible for protecting students, staff, and visitors across all school locations throughout the district. This includes responding to incidents, reviewing and revising safety plans, securing video footage. Securing video footage! Interesting! Traffic safety at various schools, and implementing and revising safety protocols. The team works with a partnership with multiple stakeholders, including the fire department, police department. Oh, there's a partnership with the Buffalo Police Department? I had no idea. Color me surprised. The team is comprised of a chief operating officer and chief safety and security, several associate superintendents and school leadership, executive directors, supervisors of security services, security officers, and others. So then when we don't get video camera footage from the schools, it is the chief operating officer and chief of safety and security, as well as several associate superintendents of school leadership and executive directors. Noted. Noted. So those are the people that are to blame when they refuse to give us video footage. Okay. All right, they're hiring. What does MOU stand for? Manual of Uniform? The district has an MOU in place with the professional, clerical, and technical employees, which represents the school safety officers establishing minimum safety levels. Okay. Going to the safety levels. Staffing and supervision. Oh, they probably don't want to show exactly how the school is put in security, or is using security, so then obviously people can't try to defeat whatever the security measures those are. Let's see. Sorry, I'm sending a text message out to somebody who's trying to see if they can't look at something. Many district personnel outside the security team welcome the addition of security personnel in their buildings. Okay, well, not police. All right, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Additional broad safety concerns. I'm not worried about your safety concerns yet. February incursion at Drew. That's the guy that tried to abduct the children. All right. That's the incident that spurred this all. District security infrastructure, communication procedures, and incident documentation practices, prompting immediate concerns from parents, staff, and the broader Buffalo community. Okay, so this is what kicked it all off. This was the egregious example. Let's see what the general description is. Oh, look, they've got a breakdown. How are they going to do? Oh. That's a lot of black. February 11th, an unauthorized individual gained access to Drew during regular school hours through the adjoining Buffalo Museum of Sciences, which, by the way, was brought up numerous times to the school officials, and security people, and it was never taken care of. I know that because I know one of the individuals that was specifically told, hey, this needs to get fixed. And they said, we told the schools. But they didn't. Anyway, the intruder apparently first attempted to enter the school surreptitiously by engaging an adult who was walking with a child outside the building. He attempted to direct him to go with him to the main entrance of the school. The adult rebuffed these efforts, however, and entered the museum with the child, which was their intended destination. Attended the Museum of Sciences. Action reported by video and reviewed by law enforcement prosecutors. Did bypass the administration desk and receptionist. This is a map of the museum area showing the administration desk. Okay. Admin desk, walks in. As I see a... Where is the school? I see auditorium. The intruder engaged with at least one museum patron. Contractors working the museum side of the immediate area told the intruder not to enter, specifically informing him that the area beyond the door was a school. The intruder apparently said he needed to find a bathroom in an attempt to justify his entry. Therefore, the intruder walked the halls, entered classrooms, or attempted to do so, and engaged Drew students and adults who generally engaged in alarming behavior, including yelling, screaming, "Where are the children?" and throwing property. That's not scary. A lot of stuff redacted. Not a fan of that. When advised by staff that an intruder was present in the building, Blank responded in the area. A shelter in place was called. So, not a lockdown. Shelter in place. Meaning, hey, don't leave the building. There is a disagreement as to whether the school was then placed in a lockdown. Oh, no shit. Well, I mean, the Buffalo school put out their own statement, and they said that they were in a shelter in place when they should have been in a lockdown. We discussed the discrepancy in more detail below. Nonetheless, Blank engaged the intruder, telling him that he was not allowed in the school and asked him to leave. The intruder then struck Blank, who was a teacher. At the time of the incident, the principal was at an off-site meeting for principals. Two Drew assistant principals were present. There's also a substitute principal at the building covering the principal during his absence. And he was unable to get any students to go with him. With security then upon him, the intruder fled the area. BMS security responded to BPD officers and took him into custody. So this must have been this blacked out area here must have been when he grabbed the kids, I'm assuming. Because you got the whole... He got charged and found guilty of attempted kidnapping. So... In general, the staff... Alright, Drew staff's general response to the incident. Staff invited the intruder incident as a fluke, once in a lifetime, or perfect storm event, not likely of repetition. Except that your doors have been unlocked for years. The Buffalo Museum of Science school doors have been unlocked for years. That has been a way to get inside the school for some time. How is that a once in a lifetime or perfect storm situation when your doors are unlocked? Alright. Many staff members had no security concerns after it happened. You sure? Many staff members? What are the number of that? What's the number of that? How about the staff member that got assaulted by the guy? All right. Some may have had no security concerns. Okay. Many though? Hey everybody. Hey teachers. How you doing? sit down for a second. I'm going to talk to the family members. Hey, parents of Buffalo Public School, Drew Elementary, the one that's attached to the Buffalo Science Museum. Many staff members had zero security concerns after that incident happened. I don't know if the doors were fixed since then, but having those doors open for as long as they had unlocked, many of those staff members have zero security concerns. Just so you know, if your toddler goes there, there's no security concerns. Zero concerns. Why would you be concerned? Some called for more security officers to be present thereafter. Some mentioned the emergency response confusion. That sounds like a concern, but okay, whatever. Many positively received the measures implemented within the first few months following the incident. Good. We discussed the post-incident actions in more detail below. Many Drew personnel listened to one or more, saying some expressed their strong disagreement with much of the podcast content, calling it assertions inaccurate and exaggerated with respect to the Drew and intruder incident. Many took offense to the concerns raised with strong indignation to the extent that they were levied at Drew and the response that the school had after the incident. Others agreed with some portions of the podcast. Tell me exactly where I was wrong, individuals. I'd love to hear your side of the story. Hey, where were they when the news came out, right? I mean, story was out there. Why didn't they go and post something? Hey, I'm a student there, and this guy's wrong. This guy's wrong. You've had almost a year. April's in just a couple months. You've had almost a year to go public with Rich High's full of shit. This is why he's full of shit. I was at that school. Why haven't you? Interesting. Interesting that you're disagreeing behind closed doors. That's cool. All right. The building and its history. The building, its history. What the fuck does that have to do? It's helpful to understanding the structural or other issues. Provide a brief background on the school. It's a public school, middle school, uniquely situated next to the Science Museum. Educational, okay. Logistical, okay. Drew is located on the same campus as the museum, which is adjacent to a public park. Okay, I don't know. Wow. Thus, there is signage near the museum specifically identifying it and its entrance. Likewise, there's a prominent sign near the front of the school identifying the school as 59 Drew. All right, so this is probably describing the area. The relationship between the school and the museum. Don't understand why that's important. Emergency response, calls, and communications at the time of the intrusion. Let's break this down. A critical examination of Drew's emergency response to the incursion reveals fundamental disagreements among school personnel regarding which emergency protocols were initially activated and later employed, raising serious questions about both the decision-making process and the effectiveness of the school's emergency communication system. Oh, but I thought nobody had any concerns. There's serious questions and about the effectiveness and the decision-making process of the school's emergency communication system. But many of the teachers, they're not worried about the school's safety. They're not. Okay. Cool. Schools practice these drills in accordance with New York educational law. That's true. Notably, the statute is designed to provide instruction to students so that they may, instead of emergency, be able to respond appropriately. Same thing for adults. No matter the disagreement about the later radio calls emergency action deployed at Drew, all the witnesses confirmed the first emergency action implemented was a shelter in place. Okay, cool. So there was a shelter in place. That's good. As captured in the district summary, a shelter in place response typically addresses external or unspecific hazards and threats that do not pose an immediate danger inside the building. Well, so then that's bad. So then you don't want a shelter in place. So then you need a lockdown. The hallmarks of this response include controlled movement, perimeter security, and normal communications. A shelter in place response would be more extensive in duration, but offers provisions for student needs, bathroom access, water, food. Okay, a lockdown is initiated when there's an immediate active threat inside. Okay, so that's what should have been done. Was it done? I know that they said that there was a shelter in place. Nick looked over in his binder, looked over their proper procedures, and I believe the school said that they did a shelter in place instead of a lockdown, and lockdown is when there's an immediate active threat inside the school. Okay. Is that one of the things I was wrong about, teachers? Usually short-term accurate acute threats, the fundamental difference between the responses. Okay, that describes it. All right. The Drew post-incident communication to parents and caregivers identified the response as both a shelter-in-place and a lockdown, which reports some of the confusion reported by Drew personnel. Okay. This afternoon, the school was placed in a brief shelter-in-place and a lockdown for several minutes because of a person entering the building. That's good. All right. So they started off with something, and then they later went down to the lockdown, which was the appropriate action. That's good. Principal stated in incident notes, however, the BPD lifted the shelter-in-place around 1:30 p.m. without mention of a lockdown. As well, blank wrote in blank, personal account blank, called to place the building in a shelter-in-place and to call 911 after his assault. I think it was a male teacher. That's probably just blanking out his. These responses are not interchangeable, as the district documents recognize, but some people involved in the process have treated them as identical. They are not. More specifically, blank asked whether to lock down or shelter in place, to which apparently said yes. These are separate responses. Blank is identified as part of the building level emergency response planning for Drew, but blank indicated that he had no timing and did not attend any safety meetings. But all team members should be given the copy of the blurb, which I guess is some response. That's to review it and invite to meetings to discuss it, or that maybe it's an after action report. So now they're talking about drilling and training, getting the proper communications. Difference account to which emergency response is called, the number of times it was called on the radio. Okay. School could not, and thus did not, preserve the audio of the radio calls. Correct. Check them afterwards. That's right. That's dispatch. Dispatch does that. Central Police Services in City of Buffalo does that. So if you want that, you can FOIA those. Called 911 lockdown 3 or 4 times. Blank did not know why the school did not go into lockdown. Okay. So somebody called 911 and said a lockdown 3 or 4 times, but blank did not know why the school did not go into lockdown. Written statement has some inconsistencies, and blank said that put the school into shelter in place and later called for a lockdown, but then blank references the BPD lifting the shelter in place, not referring to it as a lockdown. There are scenarios where a shelter in place response can escalate to lockdown situations, while blank maintains that someone called a lockdown. Multiple staff members report hearing only a shelter in place directive. We mentioned this is not a cast aspirations, but to identify discrepancy in recollection underscores critical incident. Okay. We likewise address the communication issues blank in another section, but we note here, can't note that. While Drew incident concluded without physical harm to students, okay. It revealed critical gaps in emergency communication and protocol implementation. Disagreement about what was initially announced. Okay, so that's the discrepancy between if it was shelter in place or a lockdown. The fact that this occurred during a genuine emergency rather than a drill makes it an immediate mediation essential. Yes. What is this? What is this? Increased communication has been a safety measure in the wake of Drew incident too. This could be how you fix it, I guess. I guess like makes the immediate drill, the immediate remediation essential, and then this would probably be like a block of this is how we would change it. Look at all this. All these efforts are laudable and they should enhance communication in emergency, non-emergency. Okay, cool. So based on the before and after verbiage of this large swath that's blacked out, I assume that this is their correction to a safety plan, which should be blacked out. I agree. If that is a safety plan, it should not be public knowledge to strangers. It should be school officials and teachers. You don't want people looking at this and then using that as a potential way to jack with the schools. Crisis intervention and parent contact. Okay, let's see what happens here, because Dad said he didn't know about his kid being a part of this for 2 months. There was no criticism levied on in the podcasts about the post-incident crisis response, specifically what I mean, maybe I'm thinking of crisis response as an overall general term. Maybe they're just focusing on just the crisis specifically in that incident and not the parent contact right now. We'll see. Such a traumatic and widely publicized event. After dismissal, blank met to address their concerns and questions relating to the intrusion as well as support plan for the following day. The principal sent an email to staff to let them know about the planned first of the morning meeting to discuss support for staff and students moving forward. They identified 2 students who were in the hallway with the intruder. Interesting. The principal contacted their families to connect them with counseling services and to connect them with their best self liaison. Wait a second. I thought the dad to the news said that he wasn't notified about his kid's involvement until like 2 months later. So, and also this doesn't coincide with the district attorney's information. Let's read on. The principal contacted their families. A parent of one of the children met with the administration the very day. The principal left a message for the other family using 2 phone numbers. Best Self Liaison connected with the families and visited families in their homes as needed. Best Self is a mental health assistance corporation that assists. Well, it's a private entity, but it also the police department utilizes them for juvenile interviews and things like that too. Another teacher was tasked with contacting the families of the students in the classroom that the intruder poked his head into. My concern right now, and we'll see a little bit later, is the principal left a message for the other family using 2 phone numbers. If your kid's abducted, I really hope you called back. I really hope you made sure they got him. Because let me tell you, during my investigations, if somebody doesn't answer when they're the victim of a sexual assault, I call back just to make sure that they got my message and that I can talk to them. So, was there a follow-up after this? Let's ask this question right now. If your kid's almost abducted by a dude, if one of your students are almost abducted by a dude, 2 students are almost abducted by a person, do you think that leaving a message is the appropriate response? Do you think that, oh, I called and left a message, that's the only thing you should do? Do you think? I don't. But who am I? Who am I? Let's see. There was a concern raised by the podcast about the family of a student who was directly engaged by the intruder, not specifically advised or contacted about the incident by the school. The principal's notes indicate that he contacted the 2 families. Now it says that he left a message on one of the persons, not that he contacted them. 2 students are identified in the corresponding incident report, but the DA's motion related to obtaining a subpoena to obtain evidence from the school to overcome FERPA protections, which is a part of another section of the report, reveals deeply concerning discrepancies that underscore the critical importance of timely and comprehensive video review following an incident. Okay, wait, that's very interesting. 2 students are identified in the corresponding incident report. We'll see. We'll look at the report. But the DA's motion related to obtaining a subpoena to obtain evidence from the school to overcome FERPA protections, which is a part of another section of the report, reveals deeply concerning discrepancies that underscore the critical importance of timely and comprehensive video review following an incident. Okay, so what this is telling me is that the DA got a subpoena, gave it to the school in order to overcome these FERPA protections, which, if I'm not mistaken, I believe FERPA is like it's like a protection for students thing. Let me just double check. I hate acronyms because I can never remember all of them. Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. There you go. It protects the privacy of students, of student educational records, and gives certain rights regarding those records. Specifically K through 12. It looks more like these are records and not video. Like, this is more towards, like, your school records and not actual surveillance of a school or school security footage. So I wonder if there's a clause in it that I'm not seeing. Okay, anyway. So here's the issue when it comes to recovering video footage. They've stated, hey, listen. There is an issue in retrieving video footage. Okay. Understandably may have affected blank ability to fully account for all students involved. The DA BPD's investigation revealed that while the school identified two students... Okay, where the school identified two students who had direct contact with the intruder, video evidence clearly showed 3 children were approached, with the third child's family coming forward independently and directly to the DA's office to provide information related to the incident. The discrepancy highlights why schools cannot rely solely on blank staff members' recollections or defer entirely to police determinations about the school, about what footage is relevant. They have to exercise independent judgment, which is difficult and be complicated given their other duties in the immediate wake of traumatic event. We discussed the video footage issues in a separate section. We provide additional feedback and recommendations about the post-incident actions in more detail below. Okay. So we're going to figure out a little bit more about what happened with the video footage. Otherwise, blank. Went to the school next day. Crisis support was available on site. Yes, Thursday and Friday. The school then was on break the following week. School set up lunch bunches, I don't know what that is, for students during this time and contacted families to offer additional support. Student support team, crisis service team members checked in with students, best help liaison. School continued to update parents and staff about safety. There was at least one staff member who criticized the communications after the incident, parents and guardians specifically. Evidence of two parents and guardians. The letter sent by the Drew principal is copied above. The school sent the letter home with students and was posted contemporaneously in the school NEC system as well. District multimodal approach of notification utilizing both electronic. Okay. This is more of information how parents should talk to their children after a traumatic incident. This just talks about how parents may not have reached out to the school appropriately to try and determine what's going on. All right, let's see. Recommendations. We touch on a number of suggestions above, but we offer the following list for ease of review. Communication protocols. Eliminate ambiguous terminology during emergencies. Staff must never combine terms like lockdown and shelter in place, as they are distinct protocols. Implement standard emergency language with clear and unmistakable commands. Require verbal confirmation from all building zones with emergency protocols are initiated. Create a digital acknowledgement system for administrators to confirm receipt and understanding of emergency type. Okay. Radio communication enhancement. Provide comprehensive radio profile training. Establish clear codes. Ensure office personnel are not simultaneously making 911 calls and radio communication during emergencies. Training and retraining. Incident reviews. Implement multiple verification methods for identifying. Okay. Provide immediate debriefing support for staff. Have additional reviews in place for physical evidence, witness identification, and video footage collection to prevent missing witnesses, evidence, and other data needed for internal and external investigations. Ensure crisis response teams are activated for both immediate and long-term support. Ensure all students directly affected by an incident are identified through comprehensive review. Ensure parent notification. Is that it? Okay, so that's it. So they're saying for the Drew school, that they were given all video to BPD, but some of it they didn't think was relevant, and so they didn't. Let me make something utterly clear. An individual with the recording of the additional child that was involved in the attempted kidnapping went to the DA's office and said, hey, this is gone. Here's this. I think it's important. There's no way. Okay. There's no way that the DA, the ADA that was in charge of this case was interviewed, or the other co-chairs. Just saying the ADAs that are involved in this investigation. There's no way. That's unfortunate, because that would have shown something in a different light. Why if they didn't, then why would the district attorney not allow his ADAs to be interviewed? Is that what happened? Allegation related to DA subpoena. Let's look into this one. So the DA subpoena non-compliance. Look at this. As a part of our engagement, we were asked to evaluate the podcast allegations the Buffalo Public Schools failed to comply with subpoenas. I know they did. I know for a fact they did. That is unequivocally absolutely true. The Erie County District Attorney's Office in connection with criminal investigations, including specifically subpoenas related to video footage and other documents from Drew. High school, the allegations, well, this is from Drew. Okay, so specifically this is Drew. At high level, the allegations suggest that law enforcement saw records to testimony for EPS. The district either did not respond as required. Well, I'm not saying that Drew didn't respond as required, or I'm not saying that the schools didn't respond as required for Drew. I'm specifically saying there was a separate incident where a subpoena was ignored. I don't know about the subpoenas being ignored or not for Drew. I would assume that they would have been if they didn't give them all of the video footage that the district attorney requested, right? Like if the district attorney gives you a subpoena and says, give me all the footage, and then they don't give them all the footage, and then later on, more footage is given to the DA's office, would that not show in and of itself that subpoenas are not taken seriously? That they are not adhering to the subpoena of all relevant video footage? They're not informal requests. Subpoenas, whether issued in criminal or civil matters, are court processes and not informal requests. They're a mechanism by which courts, grand juries, and litigants secure testimony and obtain records that are relevant material to pending actions or investigations. As a public school district, a government entity has both the legal obligation to respond timely and appropriately to valid summonses, and in many instances, statutory duties to safeguard confidential information. Okay, apparent tension between these obligations can give rise to disputes. Yeah, like every time I ask for fucking video. But the disputes are meant to be resolved through a defined legal process, not through unilateral refusal or disregard of a process. Yeah, well that happens. That 100% happens. While the concern raised in the podcast focused on criminal proceedings, here's a general overview of the ways requesting party can seek subpoena. Okay, this is more information for people who don't know how subpoena works. This is discuss civil subpoenas. Failure to comply with judicial subpoenas, contempt of court. Yes. Subpoenas in criminal matters. General BPS method of processing subpoenas. Okay. Reviewed a list of 19 subpoenas received by the district from 2023 till May 2025. Subpoena list was responsive to a FOIL request it received. The list shows the number of subpoenas. Just has how they were used for like different proceedings. The legal department does not have a documented process related to subpoena receipt and submission to its department for handling. Interesting. Doesn't that sound like a problem? Doesn't that sound like if I give you a subpoena and then it's just completely ignored because the legal department does not have a documented process related to subpoena receipt and submission to its department for handling. The contract with the Buffalo Board of Education does not identify a process instructing members on actions to take when served with a subpoena. The office, holy shit, the Office of Legal Counsel recognizes it may not receive subpoenas for testimony unless the employee sends the subpoena to that office or calls to advise it about its questions. If you're the fucking legal counsel for the Buffalo Public Schools, how do you not get sent the subpoena? The Office of Legal Counsel is not aware of any instances where a subpoena was issued and the employee did not cooperate or was advised to not cooperate. If contacted, and if the subpoena is valid, the Office of Legal Counsel advises the receipt to comply. Sweet. Awesome. There was a young lady that was raped by a pool in a school in North Buffalo. I have the CD number. I'll gladly, I'll share it. I don't give a fuck. In fact, I know that, I know that one of the investigative people got it from a FOIA, so I know the CD number, and that's how I'll give it to you, is because I'll look at that CD number that I got from an investigative journalist, and that is the incident that I'm referring to. So this is not of my own accord. This is from information that was gathered by a FOIA request from a investigative journalist. I forget the year of it. I got to look at the paperwork that they sent me, but a young lady was raped, sexually assaulted by a pool in the city of Buffalo in a school. The young lady went, discussed, hey, I was sexually assaulted. I forget the individual now because the story's not so fresh in my mind, but I believe that it was a principal. Female said, all right, we'll look into it. Don't remember if that was a principal or not. Let's just say she went to an individual and talked about the sexual assault and that it was not reported. It wasn't. Then a year later, after the video's all gone, this child then makes a disclosure to a friend. That disclosure gets turned into a law enforcement referral. This child's then interviewed. A year after the incident, now the police know, now the district attorney's office knows. They start investigating it. Now we don't have physical evidence. Now we don't have video evidence. The district attorney's office sends a subpoena to the principal. This is why I believe that it was the principal that the child told about the incident that did not go reported. The principal, female, says, I've already investigated this. It's nonsense. Something to the effect of it's nonsense. I've already investigated it. I've closed my investigation. I've found it unfounded. I am not going to come in to your subpoena and answer it. That is a written letter from a principal. I believe that letter is in the case file at the district attorney's office. There's one. There's one. Oh, I know we're going to do a podcast about this. I know we're going to fucking do a podcast about this. I'll get the CD number. I'll get the specific fucking case number for it. Likewise, if a requesting party notifies the legal department that a department did not provide the requested materials after being advised of the subpoena, the Office of Legal Counsel follows up with its department. The legal department is the part of the issue. The Office of Legal Counsel further stated that if asked, it may advise the recipient unsure about answering a question due to confidentiality concerns to direct the concerns to the questioning party. Explain the concern, request guidance from the DA of the court. A person or department could ignore a subpoena without the legal department ever knowing. The onus is on the requesting party. However, to undertake enforcement of other follow-up action as addressed above. Let's see. We're still talking about the Drew School. All right. The DA's office also sought documents including the Drew incident report and witness names and contact information from the district through a separate subpoena. The DA's office recognized the expedited nature of the request. In anticipation of presenting the case to grand jury in 5 business days, which is, yeah, what happens. The office further advises hope and grand jury presentation will testify. All right, this is talking about the Drew School. I'm not worried about the subpoenas with the Drew School. That's not, I mean, I guess I am a little bit, but that's not one of my, that wasn't one of my main concerns. Especially, district initially provided the Drew incident. Let's talk about the district attorney's office now. Provided the Drew incident report with student data redacted to prevent any FERPA violations. Why are you redacting student information when the district attorney's office is requesting it? Are you fucking retarded? Let me I'll read that over one more time. From late February through May 2025, BPS Legal and DA's office had several communications about documents and witnesses. With respect to the incident report and witnesses' names, specifically the district initially provided the Drew incident report with the student data redacted to prevent... I mean, what? I mean, yeah, but they know who it is. We can provide them unredacted. The DA's office then asked BPS Legal to identify the FERPA provision it was relying upon, but further advised it would seek a judicial subpoena to comply with the student witnesses' names as part of the ongoing criminal investigation. Yeah, so you're denying the DA's office the names of victims? Am I reading that right? Let me know if I'm fucking high right now. So, with respect to the incident report and witnesses' names specifically, the district initially provided the Drew incident report with student data redacted to prevent any FERPA violations. I mean, yeah, we give redacted and unredacted reports to the DA's office. If you're saying that BPD refused to give the names of victims to the DA's office, that's fucking dumb. That's absolutely not true. How else would we figure out who the victim? We have to figure out who the victims are too. The DA's office then asked BPS Legal to identify the FERPA provision it was relying upon. This makes it seem like the incident report of the victims that BPD took had just like juvenile or unknown in it because the schools refused to give the Buffalo police officers the names of the victims. The DA, that's what it looks like to me. The DA's office then asked BPS Legal to identify the FERPA provision it was lying on, but further advised it would seek So the DA's office is asking BPS Legal, tell me where in FERPA it says that you can't give me a kid's name when a criminal incident has occurred. That's not what FERPA is. Hey, you know how you're supposed to protect students' information? Yeah, not in a criminal aspect of it, you fucking morons. BPS Legal had requested a judicial subpoena to allow for the release of the unredacted incident report that would indicate the student names and contact information. Having a judicial subpoena require production is one of the most efficient ways to overcome FERPA protections from the record holder's perspective. Parties had a clear disagreement. The parties had a clear disagreement. So the district attorney's office and the one who deals with fucking legal shit and Buffalo Public Schools legal team had a clear disagreement about the protections afforded under FERPA. This led to an understandable frustration, but the parties were able to resolve the issue. Oh, so thank you. So proof that Buffalo Public Schools is refusing to give victims and suspects names to the district attorney's office, unless the district attorney's office then gets like a fucking a judicial subpoena, which is basically a warrant. But guess what? It's unneeded. You can just give it to us. It's like, let me put it this way. It's like you run into a store, right? And you beat up the guy behind the counter. Then he gets in the car and he drives away, right? This guy goes in the store, beats up a guy on the counter, and then gets in his car and drive away. That's like asking... It's like having the New York State DMV refuse to give you his license plate. I'm losing my mind. I'm sorry. That's a horrible analogy. I'm losing my mind. This is... All right, cool. So here we go. So you've got a law that you're intentionally misinterpreting to prevent a criminal investigation from happening. Is that not obstructionist? That's obstruction, is it not? Hey, FERPA doesn't have anything to do with a criminal investigation. It has to do with student records, as in like their grades, maybe where they live or something like that. Maybe some personal information, you know, for records in a school. Not about, hey, you need to give their name because a criminal incident took place in the school and they're a victim or a suspect. Tell me that is an intentional misinterpretation of the law, which is in and of itself obstruction. Tell me more. Ugh. Because of some of the allegations in the podcast specifically claiming obstruction, we addressed the obvious frustration between the parties in more detail, but we remarked that this seems to have been an aberration of an otherwise legally cooperative relationship between BPS Legal and the DA's office. The BPS Legal and the DA's office do not have a copacetic relationship. That is not true at all. They are difficult to deal with, per every assistant district attorney. Every assistant district attorney has had issues with Buffalo Public Schools. They might get what they need, but there is always a headache provided by Buffalo Public Schools. BPS Legal and the DA's office, after the initial email exchanges, one of the assigned ADAs sent an email to BPS Legal advising both that it had made a motion to obtain the judicial subpoena, asking again for the portion of the FERPA that the district was relying upon to address it further as needed in the motion. The advising of blank belief that their ability to fully and completely investigate what may amount in an attempted kidnapping for BPS School 59 is currently being obstructed by the continued withholding of relevant material. Holy fucking shit! Holy fucking shit! So, oh yeah! Oh fuck yeah! Let's read this again. Oh, somebody clip this shit. After the initial email exchanges, one of the assigned ADAs sent an email to BPS Legal advising both that it made the motion to obtain the judicial subpoena, asking again for the portion of the FERPA, all right? That's the Protection for Students Act, right? That the district was relying upon. This is school district, right? So when it says district, that's not BPD. I confused that as BPD before when it came to report taking. This means school district, not the district that this occurred in. That the district was relying upon to address it further as needed in the motion, and advising of their belief that their ability to fully and completely investigate what may amount in an attempted kidnapping from BPS School 59 is currently being obstructed by the continued withholding of relevant and material information. The district attorney's office said, quote, the ability to fully and completely investigate what may amount in an attempted kidnapping from BPS School 59 is currently being obstructed by the continued withholding of relevant and material information. So we've got obstruction. Literally the word. The attorney affidavit accompanying the motion acknowledged that BPS requested a subpoena to produce requested materials, provided the belief that BPS did not disclose all requested materials in a meaningful manner, referencing the redacted report and further advising the belief that BPS, the School 59, had ordered witness staff members not to provide BPD or the DA's office with the names of any minor student victims. So the school district refused to give, and there's an email of this, refused to give, withholding the names and contact information of these children, the minor victims. Thank you. Thank you. Where's my notebook? I need to write down page fucking 37. There we go. Page 37 just fucking kicks it right in the teeth, don't it? Where's a good pen? All my good pens are gone. Fucking timestamp this. Do I have to get up? I need a drink. I need some booze. I'm gonna grab a pen and I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab some freaking liquor. This is disgusting. Who wants tequila? I know I do. One for Ed Dranch. Delicious. Tapatio Reposado. For anybody looking to get me a Christmas gift. I'm irritated. All right. Awesome. So you got the DA's office emailing people in the schools saying, hey, you're obstructing this investigation because you're failing to give me information regarding the victims and suspects. Well, mainly this is just victims in the school. But there are previous occasions where they obstructed and would not give names of suspects. This is fucking awesome. This is fucking awesome. This is exactly what I want. Retribution. Thank you. Repeating the position from above the amendment email, withholding the names and contact information of these children obstructs the ability of the district attorney's office to fully investigate and prosecute this matter, holding the defendant responsible for his actions, and referencing the district attorney's referencing the district's reliance on FERPA as the reason underlying the non-disclosure decision. Ultimately, the court issued the subpoena, and the district provided the unredacted report and witness names in response to the court-ordered subpoena. So there you go. Hi there, parents of children in the Buffalo public school system. The Buffalo public school system's legal authority, right, refuses to give victims' names to kidnappings because they think that giving the names of children in a criminal matter somehow violates FERPA, which is we can't give out the a student's documentation from the school. Education records, specifically, education records generally included in any records directly related with the student maintained by the school. Examples: grades, transcripts, disciplinary records, and enrollment. for minors, K through 12. Rights belong to parents or guardians. Parents can inspect or review the children's education records, request corrections, and control who sees personally identifiable information from those records. Directly information, like name, major enrollment status, phone number, or participation in sports can often be released publicly unless you specifically opt out of football. Okay, that's nothing to do with that. All right, cool. Ultimately, the court issued the subpoena. Yeah, this is what happens. We have to issue warrants and subpoenas to the schools in order to find out if your kid's a victim of a kidnapping. Cool. This is great. This is exactly what I wanted. I'm so happy now. The district's initial hesitation. Look at that. The school district's initial hesitation and request for a judicial subpoena was supportable from a compliance standpoint, as undergoing that process ensured that it had clear legal authority to provide the records. It did already. And it potentially avoided any notification complications. With the court-ordered subpoena, Colonel Matter BBS could comply fully. They could have complied fully without it. Potential investigation interference. Hey, legal people, I really want somebody that's legal to do this. How in any way, shape, or form is FERPA preventing a criminal investigation from ongoing if you're requesting the name of a victim of a crime? That's not school documentation. We also understand the urgency and laudable goals of the DA's office to bring an alleged perpetrator to justice in the matter of widespread importance. No, do you? Do you acknowledge that? The school doesn't. There's one burp for Ed Ranch. There were some additional follow-up communications between the district and the DA's office about the breadth of information provided to seek clarification on requests and provide additional witness information. Some of these communications occurred after the podcast aired, which demonstrates the lack of a meeting of minds between the parties of the scope and subpoenas. The lack of the meeting of the minds is 100% from the school. Do you think that the district attorney's office and the Buffalo Police Department have an issue? Like, not working with the school? You think that we don't want to solve a kidnapping? In what way is the district attorney's office and the Buffalo Police Department in any way like, we don't want additional information, we need more paperwork to go through? We're not. The meeting of the minds is 100% the school's fault. It's its legal team's fault. They're horrible, they're obstructionists, they're shit. They won't give victim information to the fucking district attorney's office or BPD or BPD. Because we can't give out we can't give it out. Yes, you can. If a kid gets shot on your fucking school grounds, you think you're gonna give their personal information, like name and date of birth, to an officer investigating it? Well, then that correlates to all criminal investigations. You pieces of shit. I'm over this. Their legal team's garbage. I hope they can sleep at night. Some of these communications occurred after the podcast aired. No shit. The district was under the impression that it complied with all requests. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. No, that's a fucking lie. But it appears the DA's office interpreted the subpoena for documents as broader. Well, let's show the subpoena. Where is the subpoena in here? Is it a referenceable material? Put the subpoena in here. Let us look at it. It's a subpoena. It's a FOIable document, is it not? It's illegal. We should absolutely be able to look at the subpoena. Is the subpoena like, tell us what happened? Or is it... God, kill. In the end, adult witnesses were made available for interviews, and several were called to testify in grand jury proceedings. I mean, that's at the end. Written statements were provided, and the footage was authenticated to use to prosecute the defendant. Oh, like, why aren't they talking about how it took forever to get the second video? I think they touched on it earlier, but they didn't really get into it, or it was blacked out. These offices not advised that any delays compromise the investigation and ability to charge the intruder. Yeah, they did. Oh, that it compromised the investigation? Well, no, because it ended out okay in the end. But you prevented one of the victims from being known. Indeed, it appears that the ADA was able to introduce the required evidence. This resulted in the intruder entering a guilty plea, felony kidnapping, attempted kidnapping, and 4 other charges, Erie County, scheduled for sentencing. As mentioned in the section on video evidence, although the outcome may not have been ultimately affected, the district does not want to foster an environment or process that increases chain of custody or discovery risks. What does that mean? Why? How? The district should not act or fail to act in any way that would impede a criminal investigation. It did. It absolutely did. The district attorney's office sent them a fucking email saying it did. Obviously, the concerns raised by podcast were great enough for the Erie County District Attorney's Office issued a statement stating that this is committed through investigation. Yeah, we read that. That was like they're concerned about the well-being of the child and they're going to work forward. That's great, but it's like a nothing statement. It doesn't really say anything, which I get because there's an ongoing investigation. They're not trying to tip their hand or do anything like that, right? Situation reveals a classic tension between 2 legitimate government interests that were ultimately resolved through proper legal channels. Yeah, because the fucking DA's office had to smack their dicks and just get a fucking judge. Oh my God. The district had a statutory duty to protect student education records under FERPA. Student education records. The district had a statutory duty to protect student education records. Education records. Which generally prohibits the disclosure of student information without parent consent. Not when it's a criminal matter. This is FERPA is I go to a school and I demand little Jimmy's fucking grades, but I'm just some guy on the street. I don't get that under FERPA, right? The parents have to be notified, right? That is not Jimmy gets stabbed in the bathroom and then gets taken to ECMC, and then the school refuses to tell me the name of the child because it's on a educational record. That's an abuse of FERPA. That is an intentional stonewalling tactic. That is obstructionist. The situation, whatever. While the position was largely conservative, it was legally defensible. Get fucked. It's legally defensible. The district wanted judicial authorization before releasing protected student data to avoid potential FERPA violations. Get fucked. Which could lead to the loss of federal funding. Yeah, you know what? You know what? That makes sense, doesn't it? Let's legalese that. Let's do that real quick. A student is nearly abducted, kidnapped from your grounds. Legally, I don't have to give that child's information to the investigating body. See how stupid that is? Just stupid that is. A child almost. And the federal government's going to stop you from that. So let me tell you. So Donald Trump. All right. Donald Trump and the FBI. You tell the district attorney's office and the Buffalo Police Department who the victims are of a crime, an attempted kidnapping. And you think that working with law enforcement to share the victim's information, just the name, date of birth, who the parents are, is gonna, that Donald Trump is gonna come down and kick your huevos so far into your fucking chest that you're like gargling your own balls? The dumbest. It's legal stonewalling. You know what that is? That's shit lawyers. Garbage lawyers that have their own little fucking agenda. Garbage. On the other hand, the DA's office was investigating what it characterizes as a serious crime involving a minor, potentially attempted kidnapping. Prosecutors needed complete witness information, including student names and contact information, to conduct a thorough criminal investigation or prosecution. The DA's office viewed the redacted document and non-disclosures as obstructing its ability to fully investigate and hold the defense accountable. And it was. It absolutely was. What was that? 39, top paragraph. While we can understand the attention brought to this issue when words like obstruction are used in communications and formal legal documents, we did not find support that this was a cause of purposeful, targeted obstruction or noncompliance. Hold on. Hold on there, lawyer man. Hold on, firm that broke this down. We can understand the attention brought to this issue when words like obstruction are used in communication and formal legal documents. So when obstruction is used in a formal legal document, we don't think it was targeted obstruction or noncompliance. A district attorney's office saying you are obstructing an investigation to you is not obstruction or noncompliance. I'm not a lawyer. I was just going to be an English teacher, but let me tell you, that sentence don't make no sense. Call it double negative. But rather two government entities working through legitimate legal tensions. Legitimate? I'm not asking for his grades. I'm asking for his name because he's the victim of a violent crime. That's not FERPA. Oh, somebody broke into the new crack house. That's great. The process the parties went through demonstrates how completing legal obligations can be reconciled through established procedures rather than unilateral action by either party. Further, it is our understanding that no other issues related to the compliance have arisen between the parties, making it more likely than not that this was an aberration in an otherwise collaborative and compliant relationship. It's not. It's not a compliant relationship. They are difficult to deal with. They intentionally, legally stonewall. 2023 incident subpoena. We were advised, for example, of subpoena noncompliance by Detective Hine. 23 complaint being issued. The allegation was a BPS principal, there we go, but refused to appear, let alone respond to the subpoena. The district did not have a record of receiving any subpoena related to this matter. We sent a FOIL request to BPD for the case for further investigate this, but the request was denied. Interesting. Why was that denied? We were informed that BPD matter was closed, but we do not know if it was closed through arrest or otherwise. I believe it was closed because they didn't have enough physical evidence. Like we did not have enough evidence to move forward because of the inability to report the incident in a timely manner. As discussed, legal may not have known about the subpoena if the principal did not advise about its receipt. Okay, so now you have personnel within your department that are not notifying your legal team that you have a subpoena. That is an issue. Oh, they couldn't get the school number or the principal's name? Oh, because they couldn't FOIA it. Fuck! Come on! Come on, BPD, what the fuck? Just redact the name of this kid. Likewise, the DA's office would not provide information related to any purported subpoena noncompliance due to legal or policy. Come on! Understandably, even after the fact, disclosure of investigative details could compromise witness safety, alert suspects, taint jury pools. It's not going anywhere because the school fucked it up. Gosh dang it. Potentially expose the DA's office of civil liability for defamation or privacy violations. Found no evidence to confirm or dispute it. Gosh dang it. There is a fucking report. I believe the narrative states that she made that the incident happened a year ago and that she had already talked to somebody, but she didn't know why it wasn't reported again. We've outlined the process of change if needed. The enforcement find DA's and compliance summary FERPA. Based on the information, we suggest the following. No, let's whoa. Summary. FERPA creates a complex legal framework that significantly impacts how schools respond. Ah, thanks, girl. How schools respond to law enforcement investigations and subpoenas, but it should not serve as a blanket excuse for non-cooperation with legitimate criminal investigations involving child safety. Thank you. Boom. Okay, so we agree there. That it should not be used as a blanket excuse for non-cooperation, which it was. The concern in the podcast that the district was misusing FERPA is a shield, claiming privacy concerns even when presented with proper legal process is concerning, but was not supported from the documents information we gathered or received. I don't know. I kind of see that as exactly what the district attorney's office was saying in their email. I see that as exactly what was going on. The district attorney's office. You are obstructing an investigation. As long as there are no other instances suggesting the misapplication of FERPA and the statutes in the case interpreting its application is too voluminous to address in this report and are largely outside of our scope of reporting, there should be no concern that the district is prioritizing institutional protection over child safety. I disagree. I 100% believe that it's prioritizing institutional protection over child safety by not working with the district attorney's office and refusing to give victim information when it's a crime of kidnapping that happened in your school because your security is so lax and they haven't fixed a broken door in over 5 years. I think it's two or more. I know it's over 2. Based on information we obtained, we suggest the following. As much as possible, the legal office receive all subpoenas for timely tracking and responding. I'll agree with that. That's a good fix. That way they can't say they never received it. Making the office the hub could prevent allegations of delay and unjustified lack of response. Oh, you're still going to get an unjustified lack of response because the issue is the legal office. Subpoena tracking system would be developed. That's cool. The district should consider developing a comprehensive protocol. Documents the chain of custody from receipt to subpoena to production. I mean, yeah. I mean, we have one for internal affairs. You could call it to internal affairs. IA sends out a letter to your lieutenant and you, and both of you sign it and then send it back up to IA. So if like we can have a double check process, then so can you. Cover the legal subpoena. Education. Alleged destruction of. Okay, let's look into this. So I don't. Let's look into it. Our investigation into the podcast, including those surrounding field gaps in the public schools, video surveillance, retention, and production protocols. While the district maintains extensive camera footage across its facilities, its current system for identifying, preserving, and production videos relies heavily on individual administrative discretion and lacks standardized procedures for comprehensive evidence preservation. Interesting. So it lacks standardized procedures for comprehensive evidence preservation and relies heavily on individual administrative discretion. You know what that means, kids? That's legal jargon for some people will choose not to give a shit and some people will. You know what that means? That means when I request video from a principal that doesn't like cops, I don't get it, which happens a lot. Or I get our cameras were down during that time. Discussed in more detail below. So this is Drew incident. The footage that was not initially requested, including video of the perpetrator's interaction with students in the hallway, was subsequently lost to automatic system overwriting before the footage was recognized as relevant. Podcast characterized this loss as intentional. We found no evidence to indicate that the omission was purposeful, but it was neglectful. Okay. All right. I want to read that again. The podcast characterized this loss as intentional. Hold on. Where is it? Where is it? The footage that was not initially requested, including video of the perpetrator's interaction with the students in the hallway, was subsequently lost to automatic system overwriting before the footage was recognized as relevant. The podcast characterized this loss as intentional. We found no evidence to indicate that the omission was purposeful, but it was neglectful. Let me ask you this. How do you not track? How do I say this? If a dude comes into your school, you know what relevant video would be? You know, like this guy comes into your school and he goes in there to kidnap kids. You know what relevant video would be? Relevant video would be every fucking second that guy's in your school. Every second. Every camera angle, every reflection off of a window. Every bit of him walking around that school is important. Oh, but the school didn't think that was important. And it was negligible that it got lost in an automatic system that overrid it. Now, if it's automatically overwriting something, that usually means that it stores video for 30 days and then deletes it. So for how long exactly, how long did the school go without looking and sending every single step that this guy took in the school to the district attorney's office? At least 30 days, right? And then if that video was gone, how did the district attorneys get it? Oh, because somebody recorded it and then sent it to them via their phone or some other recording device. So what I'm getting out of this is that you've confirmed that the video was overwritten and it was negligent because people just weren't sure that it was relevant, you know, when every moment that guy's in the school is relevant. But somehow somebody in the school saw that video, recorded it, recognized it as relevant amongst a group of people, and then saved it because he knew, she knew, they knew, I don't know who it was, that it was important. And then they sent it to the DA's office. Holy fuck. This section of the report fully examines the current video retention practices and provides recommendations for implementing more robust protocols. Holy shit. How about you give us every fucking second of video of a freaking predator inside of a school trying to abduct children? How about that? Do I even have to say every second that guy's in the school is important to the investigation? I do, to the Buffalo Public Schools and their legal team. You goddamn right I do. Do you think that the video was a part of FERPA? Huh? Was it FERP'd up? This form confirms that the requester decides which footage to secure and that there is no secondary level review of the request before the automatic overrunning occurs. Any requested footage is archived in a number of ways for preservation purposes. Any footage not requested is not retained. The security team attempts to avoid inadvertent footage non-retention, specifically advising security officers that video requests should be made promptly, as video capture only lasts 1 to 2 weeks. Okay, cool. So only lasts 1 to 2 weeks. So that means that the video was deleted after 1 to 2 weeks. But at the time that it was being reviewed, somebody saw it and said, oh, this is kind of a big deal. While viewing it, other people that reviewed video said it wasn't and deleted it. Because, you know, it automatically deletes. And then that person was so, oh my gosh, I can't believe they didn't know about this other kid. sent it to the DA's office. Cheers. Security key made no transmit. Texas supervision through the incident. Do the incident reporting incident. Blah, 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 blah. The system relies on one person's determination of the proper video evidence to capture, and is somewhat inconsistent with other reporting, such as the district incident report from signed by the building principal in the incident report from additional details section. There is an area note, the capture of the video evidence, the camera's locations, and the timestamps. Additional details. Video evidence. No. Camera's locations, timestamps. Empty. While the most important action is preservation, the district needs to harmonize its practices. It's not clear who takes the lead on making the decision about the duration and area of footage to collect. The potential lack of consistency in preservation requests could create unnecessary confusion, but when in doubt, the requesting party should retain more footage, not less. Duh. Let me ask you something. If you are a person in the school security and you're reviewing footage and the district attorney's office has to send you a fucking subpoena for anything that could be pertinent to the investigation, and you decide you're just going to not send them a portion of the video with the suspect in it, that sounds like an internal issue. Application to Drew. Let's see. How does this apply to Drew? These are just getting better understood with a specific example. The allegation in the podcast relates to footage relevant to the Drew incursion that was not retained by the district. More specifically, the podcast indicated the school deleted a video of the attempted abduction that the DA's office only received a copy because someone within the school had the wherewithal to record their own phone. And without this person's action, the video evidence would not have been available for investigators and the DA to pursue charges. Our investigation confirmed that footage of the incident from one camera was not preserved. Footage from the other cameras, however, were immediately preserved. So that sounds like some was preserved and some wasn't. The Drew footage non-retention was widely described by district personnel as an unfortunate process failure, driven by assumptions that someone else had requested footage, informal or verbal requests, and the lack of single mandatory workflow related to the preservation request. All the interviewees denied any intentional destruction or concealment of footage. After the fact, there was disagreement about who preserved the footage and why, which, when combined with the potential loss of evidence, at the time of the incident, the district's incident report had a section for additional details to specify the elicited information on the availability of video evidence, the applicable camera location, timestamps, relevant footage. This form identified blank cameras of the case. Okay, so this states that I was right, that they did not give over all the footage of the incident, which is a problem. So now they're blocking out people's names that may have made the mistake of deleting the video or seeing that it was not important enough. This is them talking about the information on post-it notes that were put on there and what the post-it note was and the timestamps it requested. Hold on. School personnel capturing the video footage information were not trained criminal investigators. No, but they're part of the security team for the school. The school personnel would not have the training, education, or experience to fully know the goals of BPD and the evidence that it would need to bring its contemplated charges. If I ask for an incident, I want the entire incident. How hard is that? It's your security. So let me get this straight. Awesome. Okay, cool. So the security individuals at the Drew school don't know that when the Buffalo Police Department requests video of an incident, that they want all the video of the incident. So if you've got 2 angles of it, you only need 1. If you've got 4 cameras, you only need 3. If there's 3 kids being abducted, you only need a video showing 2. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, Epstein's mentioned in the BPS files. The expressed concern of the allegedly missing 4th video seems to have arisen in a couple ways. First, there were 4 cameras of the area in the intrusion, and the split screens in the school's office show these 4 different viewpoints. Second, recorded video on blank personal cell phone of a 4th camera angle, although blank thought footage was the same camera footage at least the other 3s. It's difficult to reconcile with the podcast claims and other information we gathered. It is not clear why blank captured this video, but there has been some indication from the other sources that blank did so to support any future integrity claim or thwart any claim of injury by the assailant. What? It's not clear why so-and-so captured this video, but there has been some indication from other sources that blank did so to support any future injury claim or thwart any claim of injury by the assailant? Hey, man, whatever you got to say. I believe you. I'm glad you captured that video. I'm glad you captured it. Good for you. You did a good job. Did a good job. POB. District security team was unaware that blank captured certain information until one of the security supervisors met with the DA's office in preparation for grand jury testimony involving the capture of video footage it drew, as the security team handles the preservation requests. On April 1st, April Fool's Day, blank was informed that the DA's office was able to download the video retained by blank for evidentiary purposes, was able to authenticate the footage from other 3 cameras, and was informed that blank authenticated the footage as a part of the criminal process. When blank returned to the office after testifying, attempted to retrieve the 4th camera footage, it had been automatically written over due to passage of time. No one previously requested blank's office to preserve the footage. So they admit the potential breakdown in communication is the loss of evidence, but they're not saying that it was intentionally done. Okay. Still an issue. The district's inability to produce comprehensive footage in response to the Erie County District Attorney's subpoenas highlights the legal risks inherent in the current system. You know what the legal risks are? It's your legal representatives for the school. That's who your legal risks are. Oh my God. The DA's office has not advised. Come on, highlight for me. Why aren't you highlighting? Why aren't you letting me highlight? Don't be rude. Don't be rude, baby. Come on, baby. Let me highlight, baby. Anyway, the DA's office has not advised that the loss of footage from the district compromised its investigation and ability to charge the intruder. Indeed, it appears that the ADA was able to introduce the footage before the grand jury through the testimony of blank. Yes, that's like saying that Jesus, just because the district attorney was able to find the lost footage and say, sweet, we were able to charge him with it, we didn't lose anything, doesn't mean that's not an issue. That doesn't mean that would have prevented the district attorney's office from charging him correctly. It means exactly that. The district attorney's office would have had a problem moving forward and charging some of the additional things had that video footage not come forward. Which means that the lack of it would have resulted in the lack of the appropriate charges. Am I taking crazy pills here? The DA's office said that, it wasn't an issue because we found the footage. Yeah, but if you never found the footage, guess what would have happened? It would have been an issue. Would they have known it would have been an issue if they didn't have the footage? We don't know that because that didn't happen. Oh my God. How do you explain that to me in legal jargon? It's not an issue because we got the footage. So it wasn't an issue. Sweet. But if we didn't get the footage, we wouldn't have charged it and it would have been an issue. We wouldn't have known it was an issue because we didn't have that footage. We wouldn't have known that the kid was there until it was too late. And then we've got statements and we're looking around like, where's the video footage? Oh, it isn't there. Well, where is this missing video footage? Oh, it isn't there. The only reason why it's not an issue is because that individual saved it on their phone and sent it to the DA's office. Because your security people are incompetent. Because your legal team at the Buffalo Public Schools is so inept and so obstructionist that they will literally get a subpoena from the district attorney's office and not turn over every video that they have of a man kidnapping a child. Get fucked. Ooh. Cheers. Recommendations. Yeah. Turn over all the video when somebody requests it. These are the building response plans, which you're not going to see because it's security for the kids at the school. Tennessee Community Charter School comparison. I don't need to see a comparison. Other comparisons, I don't want to worry about those. Allegations regarding failures to report and underreporting. Get ready, boys and gals. We're doing it. We're doing it live. Oh, that's nice. Wait, you didn't? Rude. All right. Allegations regarding failures to report and underreporting. One of the concerns raised in the podcast, obvious that. Not turning over information to police investigators or not doing so timely. Well, I mean, not doing so timely is absolutely true. We just discovered that. We proved it for the Drew school. They're not giving us video. They're obstructionists. They have to get court-ordered documents in order to turn over the victims' names of a kidnapping because they're intentionally misrepresenting FERPA. Tracking down information to support or refute this allegation was difficult. We did not initially have specific information to investigate what was relatively vague claims that we were provided with some concrete examples by the podcasters that we addressed in more detail below. We could not come to an ultimate conclusion with full confidence due to the discrepancies between the information gathered on this issue, but we were able to provide some recommendations and other commentary for consideration. Interesting. Delayed reporting and underreporting. The incident claimed peer-to-peer sexual assault may have occurred on blank. The school staff member emailed Detective Hine May 1st. Was told she could not speak to you. Detective High was one of the detectives investigating. DP staff's email did not reveal when she received the direction not to speak to the police, but in her review, she suggested that it was at about the same time she brought her concerns forward, which was within a day of the incident. Likewise, the staff member did not identify when she received the note. I mean, I know when I received the note. She told me when she received the note. I let her provide to the school committee blank. DPD asked for confidentiality from faculty and staff during its investigations. The pertinent part, the letter stated, while we're continuing our investigations, file sensitive those. Okay, it's another thing. Blanket statement. While we continue our investigation, it is vital and sensitive information regarding those individuals and overall incident occur on blank remain confidential as it is crucial to ensuring the integrity of the investigation, the best possible outcome for all parties. As professionals whose careers spotlight the protection of children, we understand your concerns. Oh, I think that was from us. Yes. Oh, this is from my partner, Mo. Letter also stated, should any new developments arise in regards to the investigation, please notify your assistant principals and principals. They have direct lines to myself, Mo Crean, who wrote the letter, and Detective Hine, the Buffalo Police Special Victims Unit. Staff member did not mention receiving this letter from BPD. No, it was given to the principal, and then we asked that she disseminate it because I believe she asked for it specifically a letter to disseminate uh, to the school. So we wrote up that on a letterhead, if I'm not mistaken. Staff member not mentioned receiving a letter from BPD. The letter invited submission for additional information. It should not have been a barrier for disclosure. Staff member to confirm below a document is a copy of the student note she received. The podcast, if I state that his note was never turned over as part of the investigation. Correct. We're unable to, because the nature is a sexual assault, we're unable to obtain any documents from BPD directly supporting the allegation or underreporting, failing to provide evidence. We cannot confirm the existence or absence of this document in the police investigative file. We verify, however, that the note was not a part of the school's file in this matter. We take Detective High's statement that he did not receive this note as part of his work as true for purposes of this investigative report. Oh, thank you. On the other hand, the police immediately invited the school community to submit information, and no one ever did. Yes, because that individual was told not to. They were specifically instructed by school administration not to provide that information. SAP provided the notes to reply about 6 and 1 half incident, and only after podcast. It's about there. All right, so this is talking about like when I investigated a sexual assault at school, and that there was a key piece of evidence, a note written by an individual student that was not given to me till way, way later on. They're unable to get a copy of the police report. Gosh dang it, BPD. Just blur out the kids' names. Yes, the police investigation is closed. All right. Principal to file a written report. Security services. Understand the security service. BPD. BPS Human Resource Department investigated the particular matter and included the allegation that a school staff member failed to timely report abuse to CPS was not substantiated based on the print. Wait, where is this? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, let's get down to business, kids. Let's. Oh, you're gonna fucking do it. You're gonna fucking do it. Let's do it. As a part of the investigation, this is alleged parental abuse outside of school hours and school property. As a part of the investigation, we received information of an incident of reported parental physical abuse that allegedly was not timely reported to proper authorities. The podcast indicated that school staff were failed to report the abuse until the third occasion, when the student appeared at school with visible facial bruises. First two reports from the student were verbal in nature. That's not entirely true. One was on video. The BPS Human Resource Department investigated the particular matter and concluded that the allegation the school officer failed to timely report It was not substantiated based on the preponderance of evidence that it gathered and reviewed. The BPS investigated. Oh, that's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's fucking it. Our investigation is not intended to substitute for BPS internal investigation findings. We acknowledge the institutional finding. We further acknowledge that BPS has had access to additional information witness context provided. We are unable to get a copy of the records underlying the police report due to privacy restrictions, and though we did learn BPD was compliant. Was closed through arrest. The complaint was closed through arrest as well. The CPS investigator no longer works at Erie County Child Protective Services. Our call to CPS about the matter was not returned. We could not confirm or refute that the school personnel did not act until the third report as alleged. Based on the documentation available to us, we cannot reconcile this claim with the written record, which shows only one documented instance of visible injuries and immediate CPS reports the same day. Oh my God, I have it in my notes. I have a recording. But we offer the following commentary in response to concerns raised by the podcast in full recognition. From the school. All right. Well, I'm going to have to fucking kick a hornet's nest again. We confirm that the school administrator brought the student to a school worker, blank, a month before physical abuse was discovered and reported. At that time, the documents indicated that there were some unspecified issues at home. The social worker expressed concerns about the parent and the student's home life. At that time, she gave the student a referral to Compass House for counseling. In the school investigation materials, a staff member denied ever receiving an early report from the student about any abuse. Okay. We'll read on, then I'll come right back to that. This is bad. I'll break down why this is concerning. The disconnect between the public statement made in the podcast and the available documentation, combined with the inability to access a full police investigation records, highlights a critical challenge in reviewing these types of matters. Privacy protections for minors, while absolutely necessary, can make it difficult to reconcile conflicting public narratives about child protection responses. Nevertheless, the incident highlights opportunities for systemic improvements, documentation, interagency communication, and training that could strengthen child protection efforts district-wide. The district has a policy addressing child abuse maltreatment. In it, the district recognized the need to disseminate policy widely, including each teacher and administrator. Okay. We can confirm that the school administrator brought the student to a social worker, blank, a month before physical abuse was discovered and reported. That's not true. It was discovered. It just wasn't reported. At the time, the documents indicated there were some unspecified issues at home, and the social worker expressed concern about the parent and the student's home life. At that time, she gave a student a referral to Compass House for counseling. So this is true. There were concerns about the kid and the home life, and the kid didn't want to live at home. And they gave the kid a referral to Compass House, which is like a sanctuary for kids that are, juveniles that have they run away from home because home is a bad place, and to give them a place to stay. All right. That validates some of the shit that I said. Oh my God, I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to have to do something I didn't want to do. All right. All right. Let's see if it can still be done. Let's see. It's going to be done annually. It's not clear the materials in the annual notice. What's going on here? District has a policy addressing child abuse and maltreatment. Let's read it. All right, here we go. So this talks about mandatory reporters, right? So she's concerned. We just read, right, that this person was concerned about the home life of the child. This training should emphasize this is mandatory reporter training. Training should emphasize that the reasonable cause to suspect abuse standard under New York State Social Services Acts generally has a low triggering threshold. Reporters do not need to have proof or probable cause, and there is no discretion to delay to investigate further or to consult with supervisors. Mandatory reporters must report. So, express concerns about the parent and the student's home life. Gave a referral to a runaway house. Did not mandatory report. Hello? 76. This is killing me. Allegations of bathroom confinement, discipline timeout room. Allegations made staff members were using the bathroom in a placement. Yep, this is where the woman would lock them in the bathroom and turn off the lights. More specifically, the connection with the teacher's aide would be placing crying, misbehaving kids in bathrooms, close the door, place a foot against it, prevent them from leaving. So the complaint issued started with someone purporting to be a parent of the pre-K student. Okay, so they conducted an investigation, interviewed 10 witnesses, including teachers, administrators, and staff. The conclusion was that the allegations could not be substantiated based on the preponderance of the evidence standard. So basically, my word versus yours. All right, next one. Communications coding calls. I talk about how they'll intentionally say school other or information only, juvenile trouble. They could not train any call logs. You can't obtain call logs. All right, so they show a call that originally came out as accident injury, and then it was later changed to child neglect and criminal mischief. So that shows how like we can change calls. Like that's just a general. Okay. 2024 to 2025, as well as other calls. 17,000 calls to the Buffalo schools since September 2021 through the news forest developed 2021 through 2025 worst files. 5,400 incidents is school other, and then 867 instances miscellaneous. Communication 911's. We got a whole bunch blacked out there. Damn. Damn. These inconsistencies, response time variability, training. Okay, whatever. Other communications. Well, now here's our pathway investigation reveals failure in secondary communications that should be addressed in parallel, but it doesn't say what they are. The inconsistent emergency communication protocols represent an unacceptable risk of student staff. The fact that some schools have detailed 911 procedures while others lack specific guidance, two-tiered safety. Whoa. The fact that some schools have detailed 911 procedures while others lack any specific guidance creates a two-tiered safety system for protection levels depending on building assignment rather than district-wide standards. Okay, that's obvious. District should treat communication. Okay, gosh. Federal district communication has nothing to do with it. Broadcaster cited that there's another general example of wrongdoing. They did not provide specific news articles. Instead, headlines: a former middle school teacher, city honors, was arrested after authorities discovered that he had secretly reported female students using a GoPro camera. Emphasized that investigators found additional child pornography in the channel's external drive. He pled guilty to 2 counts. The district indicated that FBI investigated this matter with its full cooperation. Yeah, because you're scared shitless of the feds. The drug trafficking incident. Teacher was placed on administrative leave. Buffalo school member conduct. Podcasters was accused of using profanity, obscene gestures. Due to lack of accountability, profession, and being involved. Blah blah. At the time of the incident, district comprehensive behavior standards study. Broad board members in the spirit of harmony and cooperation despite differences. Fierce debate pointed issues. Prohibiting conduct that would compose the integrity of the pursuit or undermine public trust. Among others, stated the purpose of the Code of Ethics was to promote some things. Okay, so the woman flips off the camera, then what? Board members conduct service. Suggests district treated this as behavioral aberration and a correctable one, though it raised questions about the effectiveness of existing accountability mechanism. Yeah, because it didn't do anything. All right, 22, 23. The podcaster highlighted blank. He was accused of a lawsuit sexually abusing a student on multiple occasions, both at or near a school. Near Cradle Beach in Angola. Lawsuit, Board of Education, student is ongoing. I don't know. I don't remember this one. And locked that out everything. Riverside stabbing incident. Here we go. With these matters, the podcasters are trying to convey this. Despite the district having notice of problems, systemic issues remained unresolved, and particularly relying on these matters to show up unsafe conditions. Okay. Riverside stabbing incidents with described as a slashing, not a stabbing. Okay. Oh, my bad. My bad. Words that almost mean the same thing. Which prosecute the matter. We mentioned this not to diminish the serious nature of the incident, but provide accuracy. It wasn't that they weren't charging it. It was that the kid broke into a fucking school that had an unlocked door that people complained about. Okay, students with a knife brought inside school building. It's not an isolated one. And he indicated that he has filed multiple grievances with the district relating to school safety on Riverside. Podcasters also identified the district response speaking out safety matters as a blank, and they redacted it all. Blank has been an advocate for school safety Riverside for 15 years. Has documented the safety concerns raises, particularly regarding physical doors, videos, etc. Student transfer protocols, merit systemic review through appropriate channels. But it doesn't really finish. It doesn't really talk about it. It doesn't talk about how the teacher said you failed to protect our students by locking that back door. We told you numerous times that it didn't lock properly, and they did nothing until a student got stabbed. Edibles incident. The EPS reported report properly identified this as an incident involving drugs in one of the specific categories, but scene reveals several concerns, including the teacher initial's decision to provide food to students without investigating the packaging. That's fucking retarded. What are we talking about? You gave drugs to a kid. It does. It highlights both a sophistication of modern THC packaging. All right, suggests a problem with urgency in the chain of command that extends both knowledge gaps. All right, sweet. So I'm right. Awesome. Okay. Oh yeah, that's. Oh man, I would never notice the double blunt Stonio and Stony Patch compared to Sour Patch Kids. I could never tell the difference. The delay also recognized that one of the responding EMTs who reported the podcasters that no one from the school was waiting for them upon arrival, which delayed their entry by 8 minutes. The reporter indicated this is not an uncommon occurrence. Worse, the EMT reported that the responding SRO resisted the EMTs taking the student for further attention. Really? The EMT was very critical of the teacher in not recognizing the package was non-candy item. Yes, this demonstrates how serious well-intentioned but poorly formed decisions can cascade into a medical emergency. Most concerning is not just that the teacher gave the students with it that an hour passed before he initiated proper reporting protocols. Yes. While the teacher's initial actions stem from trying to return what appeared to be a dropped candy, subsequent delays in reporting response. Blah, blah. Background screening procedures, ongoing clear protocols, and responding to allegations, communication practices. In that regard, no screening system, however comprehensive, can guarantee that individuals with harmful intentions will never gain access to education. Oh my God, that's it. District cannot eliminate all risks. No institution can. It can create environments. Okay, so like we can just give kids weed gummies. That's totally fine now. Conclusion. The investigation revealed that the district's safety challenges are fundamentally systemic rather than individually in nature. So they're fundamentally systemic. Okay. The Drew served as a critical illustration of these systemic vulnerabilities when the school leader was not on site. Confusion between emergency protocols, communication failures, inadequate video retention practices, and gaps in post-indictment documentation. These issues may not have been isolated to one school or incident. Therefore, they reflect broader institutional challenges that require comprehensive attention. Okay, so the schools suck. It's their fault. At least we got that. The investigation confirmed that many dedicated professionals within BPDS are committed to student safety. Okay, but they are operating within a framework that often impedes rather than enables their effectiveness. If the framework impedes it and it's systemic, wouldn't that mean that it's the fucking people in charge, like the, I don't know, the school board? Teachers not feeling supported when raising safety concerns. Security officers describing being underutilized as doormen rather than active safety professionals. And administrators struggle with outdated communication systems and unclear protocols. The reoccurring theme across all stakeholder groups is that individual dedication cannot overcome systemic deficiencies. So it is the system. So the Buffalo Public Schools fucking suck. Awesome. We've noted that. That makes me feel good. That makes me feel good. District stands at a critical junction. That's it. I can't read this anymore. I think I'm going to go arrest the school counselor now. Oh. What do y'all think? I can't think anymore. Honestly, I'm a little disappointed that they couldn't say, well, you know what? Even though it's systemic, there's nobody to blame. Not even the people that are in charge of the system, that have been, you know, on the school board for years, that have been a part of the system for years. The people that are supposed to make these changes, you know what? We can't blame them. We can't blame them. So there you go. There you go, City of Buffalo. There you go. It's the system's fault. Therefore, it's nobody's fault. So the people in charge of the system are not to blame. There's rules and regulations there, and lack thereof, that are completely out of their scope of changing, even though they're in charge and they can change it. So they can't be blamed. So, yeah, there you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Well, at least some changes are going to come. I'm happy for that. But nobody's going to be held accountable. Doesn't that suck? Doesn't that suck? Doesn't it suck that like a kid got into a school and stabbed another kid because the teacher said, hey, that door's broken, we need to fix that. And like 8 months later, the kid got stabbed, even though he brought it up to the Board of Education a bunch of times. Doesn't that suck? Doesn't it seem like that's the Board of Education's fault? But it's not. It's not. It's a systemic problem from the system that the Board of Education, supports. But it's not their fault. It's not their fault. Okay? Doesn't that make sense? Does that make sense to you? Does it make sense that there's no obstruction, but the district attorney's office literally sent a letter saying you are obstructing an investigation by intentionally stonewalling us with bullshit legalities that have nothing to do with what we're asking for? Literally says obstruction, but it's not obstruction, right? He said that. That's right. It's not obstruction when they specifically say obstruction in legal documents. That's confusing. All right. Well, I've done just about all I can do. Can't wait to see what those changes are. Glad nobody's responsible. It's a systemic thing. It's the system. It's nobody in charge of the system's fault. It's the system. That's okay. That's okay. That's all right. That's exactly what I thought would happen. All right. I'm going to go drown my sorrows in alcohol. Good luck. Good luck, students in the city of Buffalo. Good luck, parents. It's nobody's fault. It's just the system that's been put in place by the people in charge. But it's not the people in charge's fault. It's not the people in charge's fault, It's not the legal system that they have there to protect, the schools and not give out your child's information when they're the victim of a kidnapping so that you can be aware of that. It's not their fault. It's the system's. That system put in place by them. It's not their fault, though. Just remember that the system that they put in place, right? That it's not, it's the system that it's not them. But they can put it in place, but it's not them. Awesome. All right. I'm tired of reading and looking at screens, weirdos. Let me know what you think. See you next time.